Hi, I'm Chef Art Smith. We're here at my restaurant at Disney Springs, Homecomin. Well, you know, everybody wants that taste of home. And here at Homecomin, we bring you that taste. You know, I'm known as the king of comfort. My job is to make people that come to Disney Springs feel comfortable. I come very far, far, far away. I'm a native Floridian of 6 generations, a 6th generation farmer. I have returned back to the state. That's why it's called Homecomin. I also returned back to a place that I worked here when I was just a wee mouse, or mice or mice. Well, anyway, I was little, and all I want to do is bake cake. I love cake. I've just learned not to eat too much of it. But I grew up in the state of Florida. I went to Florida State University. Go Noles. Okay. And Gators. Okay, U of F. Okay. But most importantly, I love being here in my state. It was a place where I was born, I was coddled. It's a place where I learned so much about who I was as a person. Going to the university, meeting people from all around the world, and also never really forgetting what home feels like, but most importantly, what home tastes like. A great state of Florida, which one of the fastest growing states in the nation, is ever changing. There's lots of development, there's different things going on, and to me, it's important that we retain the state of Florida, my favorite place, and the land of sunshine, you know, but most importantly, the land of deliciousness. You know, my Florida, okay, you got palm trees, you got beaches, and you got all kinds of stuff, but guess what? My Florida, you got oak trees, you got dirt roads, and you got beautiful farms that produce wonderful, wonderful fruits and vegetables, and amazing cattle, and we're a beef producer, and poultry, and a lot of great stuff. And don't even forget about our wonderful seafood. Every great chef must have a great repertoire, a great pantry in order to cook from. And here in Florida and here at Homecomin, I've been able to use all those wonderful things that I grew up with, take recipes from my family. Nothing gives me more joy than take a cake that my great-grandmother made and serve it to thousands here at Homecomin. To me, that truly is success. You know, when I was a kid, I was not your kind of average kid. I was a little different. And, you know, and so, like, we had a farm, and I wanted to play piano. Well, little boys were supposed to farm, but I was going to play the piano. It was a way of escaping the farm. And because I was a little different, I was bullied. But what I learned at a very young age, if you feed the bully, they go away, or they get nice. You know, I was saying, there are no angry people, just hungry people. Hungry, hungry, hungry. Feed the bully. So I got into, it was a way for me, food became that mission, that revival of mine to really capture people's attention. You feed people a good meal, they remember you. They also remember if you feed them a bad meal. And so I've been very fortunate to been able to take the food that I love, this wonderful comfort food, and not only feed it, make this food for, you know, my own family, but also the world, right here in Walt Disney World. You know, I've fed a lot of amazing people throughout my life. You know, I was Oprah Winfrey chef for over a decade. I have cooked for presidents, a lot of them. I've cooked for stars, so many stars, and I love them all. You know, I think it's just amazing. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you never forget about you. You know, I grew up on beautiful Sunday dinners with fried chicken and vegetables and all kinds of stuff. And nothing is more charming and more makes you feel good at heart is that when something that you love, other people's love. And I'm a big believer, whatever you love, people will love too. And, you know, I decided that I wanted to be able to take who I was and take it to a bigger stage. You know, I did play piano a little bit. What it was I learned from that was I knew and learned how important it was to perform. And honey, the show always goes on. You never stop the show. The first lesson in piano is you make a mistake, you never go back. You keep going forward, okay? And you know, and just having the courage and being able to be present and what that means. And, everything we do, regardless if maybe it's not the direction in which we plan to go, we take bits of that makes us who we are as human beings. I was in student body government. I was like president of my college and president of, my high school, etc. And I worked for a governor. And one thing I learned was, don't be afraid to speak up. And also understand just the overall, like, how do we go about doing things? How do we go about getting across the greater good and using that as a way to really kind of propel not only my restaurants, but also propel what I care about. One of the things that some know, but many may not know, I'm a big believer in philanthropy. Philanthropy is that love of humanity, that love of human, wanting to help people. And 13 years ago, I was inspired by words from my husband, Jesus Salguero, that he said, you're going to teach cooking and I'm going to teach art and we're going to change lives. And, when Jesus speaks to you, listen. But anyway, he said that, and so we started planning that. We started, a great, wonderful man, Quincy Jones, says, if you can see it, you can be it. I always loved Quincy. I love those wonderful, the Thriller and all those great music videos he did. He was just an amazing man. And, I've been a fly on the wall for many great people, but the fly had ears. So I've learned the tricks of trade. But, it served me well. And what I've been able to do is to actually do my job, but also do a job to help others. And so Common Threads came to be. Simply was, if we could teach a kid to cook, we could really do a lot of things. So we started with a church basement and a little organic garden 13 years ago. Well, it grew, and thanks to the Annenberg Foundation and many great people. And simply the philosophy was very much what Mr. Disney said many, many years ago. And Mr. Disney said, it's my belief that we as humanity share more in common than different. It's all about keeping the conversation and really showing each other, you know what? We may be from different cultures. I may like eating tomato sandwiches and you may hate them, but guess what? We talk about it. And I think that Common Threads has been able to really teach kids so much, not only about health, but also about getting together as a team. And guess what? 13 kids we served this year and taught 90,000 kids in 9 states. And so, people will say, well, do you need another restaurant? If it means I can teach 10,000 more children, I'm going to do it. I believe that we live in an age of really conscious consuming. Consciously, we want to make the choices that are best for our family. And I think all of us want our lives as well as other lives of people to be better. What I love about the happiest place on earth here is that this company for years, when I worked here 30 years ago, has always had this mantra of it's a small world after all. A world of color, a world of hope, just a world where together we can do great things. And as a great man, Charlie Annenberg, once told me, it's about getting like-minded people together for the greater good. And together, we can do great things. I was thinking of my most current memorable moment, I'll never forget cooking for His Holiness the Dali Lama once. That first time. I've cooked for him actually twice. And His Holiness was just amazing. And I remembered I basically took my southern recipes and I made them vegetarian. And it was quite a task, but the results were delicious. And he was gracious. I'll never forget his energy and how lovely he was, and to know that I had the opportunity to cook for one of the probably one of the most loved people in the world. And and what I most loved about His Holiness was his laughter. He has a beautiful laugh. Life is short, and not not always we can laugh. And I think, and I'm a big believer, funny will always get you through it. So that was really amazing. And I also have to say that I had the opportunity to cook for one of the first Nobel laureates of Africa, Professor Wangari Maathai. And I was making her breakfast and talking to her and I said to her, I said, Professor Maathai, I said, in my country, we talk about a fictional character named Johnny Appleseed. But you know what? You're the real deal. Professor Wangari Maathai actually changed ecosystems by planting trees in Kenya. And she was not treated nicely for doing it. And to think that this great woman had really thoroughly thought how, yes, I can change my world around me by planting a tree. Speaking of trees, the amazing President Nelson Mandela, I don't know if you can do better than that. This huge tree of a man, I remember looking up to him, and Oprah said to me, we're going to have Mr. Mandela, and I'm like, President Mandela? She said, I've not really heard of any other ones. And I cooked for him, and he was extremely lovely, and I remember being a bit nervous. I believe it or not, I still get a little starstruck. A little bit of that glitter kind of gets in my eye, and I'm like, and I remember saying to Miss Winfrey, President Mandela, he's such downright biblical. He is like a legend. And I grew up in the 80s, free Nelson Mandela and the whole 9 yards and everything. And here I was before him. And I don't really remember what I did or do or what. All I remember was I was being very nice to him and very charming, but I didn't want to take up his time with Miss Winfrey. And I said to Miss Winfrey after, I said, he's just the most amazing man. And I was real taken aback. And she said, well, honey, I didn't know whether you were going to curtsy or bow to him. And I said, well, Oprah, at least my bases were covered. Isn't that life? We're all about trying to cover our bases, right? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. And guess what? A little bit of fried chicken, a little charm will set you free. And a laugh. A most funny moment? Oh my gosh, funny. Oh, let me think about this. Oh my God, it is funny, it is hysterical. I had built this wonderful Italian kitchen. I had this is my big baller moment. I felt I was a big fancy chef. I needed a fancy kitchen. And the Italians had built me this beautiful kitchen. And they're in Chicago. And it had everything. It had every bells and whistles and everything. Still does. I still have it. And but it was missing some electrical outlets because I had all these appliances and stuff that were given to me, and I was at the time making a cake for President Obama. And I've never told anyone who the cake was for, but I was making this cake for President Obama. It was a hot summer day because I forgot to put the air conditioning in the kitchen, okay? And the electrician was working in the kitchen, and I'm making the cake, and like I said, it's for the president, and it slides. And I'm thinking, I laughed. I'm going like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And the electrician got up out of the place where he was working. He said, oh, chef, let me help you there. He fixed it. And I was like, here I just trashed the president's cake. And that lovely electrician name was Hector Guerrero, who's now the corporate chef of my whole empire. And what's great about Hector, he's been a part of my life. And to think that a cake fell and his changed life, and my life did too, and it would have changed drastically if I didn't get that cake to the president. But guess what? We put it back together, and the president got his cake. And most importantly, I got an amazing man who's been with me all these years, and he makes the most amazing hot sauce. I want to tell you something. When we opened up here at Homecomin, where I'm from, we don't say homecoming, we say homecomin. We cut it off, okay? And Homecomin is that we did this lovely first day, and people were excited, and they were liking us and doing all kinds of stuff. And then I look on the Instagram, and his hot sauce has gotten more likes than me or anything else. So I'm going like, heck would know that a hot sauce would like become the star of the place. And so I referred it to as Hot Hector. You know, it's a really delicious sauce that he makes from chilies and uses Florida's sustainable ingredients. Honey is really fantastic. But most importantly, it tastes good and people love it. The idea is to create that real Florida experience. You know, when it all came about of me coming here for many years for the Epcot Food and Wine Festival. If you've not experienced Epcot Food and Wine Festival, did you know that it is the largest food and wine festival in the world and the longest running? And at Epcot Food and Wine Festival, you will taste the world as well as taste food from chefs from all over the world. It's a fantastic experience. It's a family experience. Rarely food and wine festivals address the whole family. And thanks to Disney, they have reimagined the Food and Wine Festival and made one of the most wonderful festivals in the world. I bring my family to it. We've had amazing times. And it was coming to that festival and eating everything that I said, you know what? They could stand some fried chicken around here. And as we kind of, I started inquiring. I just sent an email to the executives. And the greatest thing about Oprah, people answer you. And they pick up the phone. Because not always they do that, right? And they said, well, Chef Art, of course. I'm like, and I basically, and I told them, I was with you many, many years ago. And I sent the picture like, you were at Central Foods. It's a cute picture. You got to see the picture, okay? Everybody said, that was you? Okay, excuse me. I was once young one time. And so anyway, I was very young. I was like 20 years old or 19 or something. But anyway, they sent me this rendering, and I looked at it and I said, oh, looks like Florida, but I don't taste it. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, one of the happiest places in the world, I think people need to know it's in the great state of Florida. The reason why we had this beautiful park, and its many parks, is this gorgeous Florida weather, as well as the fauna and everything is gorgeous. You know what I mean? It's really pretty. Mr. Disney knew what he was doing. His family had been coming to Florida for quite some time. His parents honeymooned here. And he loved Florida. And he came here because he really, really believed that this was the perfect location for the happiest place on earth. Well, you know what? They darn sure needed a happiest place, in the world for fried chicken. And I told him, I said, I could see a Florida-inspired restaurant, being that you created this beautiful spring that very much, it looks like any spring that you would find. Did you know there are over 900 freshwater springs in the state of Florida? We have more freshwater springs than any place on earth. And this beautiful spring that's been recreated, reimagined by Disney Imagineers, they've been able to capture the beauty of something that many people from the days of the conquistadors and even beyond that have come to the springs for renewal. A place where they come, they celebrate as a child. We came to the springs for family reunions. We called them Homecomin. There you have it.